Headed to sheep camp, Coshodi River up in northern British Columbia. Larry's getting the boat all ready. We're going to start off, dump in this river, head up to the Coshodi, into base camp, and then tomorrow we're going to leave on horseback. You know, life's all about new experiences. And hunting in a wilderness area like this is definitely something everybody needs to try. I mean, the scenery, the amount of game, excellent outfitters like Larry and his wife. You guys got to come and try this stuff. I mean, life's too short not to go hunting. Okay, now there's two ways you can get into base camp. You can either fly in, or you have Captain Larry bring in with a jet boat. And if you really like looking at the scenery like we do, this is the fun way to come in. They call that hole the can opener. If you make a mistake, you're going to rip the bottom of your boat open. On the way up, about 2/3 of the way you're on the Musquaw River. We just took a right-hand turn, now we're on the Coshodi. You can't believe how clean this water is. 3 hours, 10 minutes, about 75 miles of water. We are in camp, Coshodi River Outfitters. Time to unload the gear.
Our team will be saddling up for the 8-hour ride into sheep country, where Ray finds that stalking the rams of Coshodi with bow and arrow is going to test his body and mind to their limit. We're hunting among the peaks of the Canadian Rockies with Larry and Lori Warren of Coshodi River Outfitters, where host Ray Bunny had loaded up the gold tips on his quest for a stone sheep ram.
Guys, it's the first morning here. Our sheep hunt actually starts in 2 days. The season opens on the 1st of August. I want to get in on the mountain early so we can try to find some sheep, get a little bit of a pattern figured out before we get started hunting. Just getting our bow ready. The guys are packing the horses and we're getting ready to leave. Here we go. You know, one of the greatest things about Coshodi River Outfitters is the fact that it's a family-run company. There's a third generation walking around camp. Their daughter and both their sons are involved in the business, but it's a very tight-knit group, and they're just awesome people to hunt with. You know, there's certain jobs better left to the professionals. When it comes to packing up a horse to go down the trail, this is something you just don't want to learn on a Saturday and take off on a Sunday. These guys have been doing this for years. In Coshodi, even the dogs go to work. This is Huey. Huey's got a backpack, but until we get across the river, Lawson's got his backpack up on his horse trying to keep it dry. But you're going to see a lot of Huey. He's going to keep the bears away from camp, and who knows, maybe pack out some sheep quarters. Well, we're going to give them a couple minutes, let that pack string line up a little bit, let them get comfortable, and then we're going to head out. The country we have here is really abundant. We've got all the species in most of our area. We've got stone sheep, elk, moose, mountain goat, plenty of bears, lots of wolves, you know, all in the same area. We had Lawson, our guide, we had Ernie, our wrangler. We rode horseback for 6 to 7 hours to get up into our sheep camp. And then from sheep camp, every day we were going to ride out anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 hours. Well, we just made it to sheep camp. Time to get the horses a rest, time to get some gear unpacked, get all set up. It's about 6:30 in the evening. Get our camp set up before dark, get some sleep, go scouting first thing in the morning. what's really amazing, on the first scouting day, on 2 small different mountains, we counted up to 50 rams. This is unbelievable. It's early season, these sheep haven't been pestered by anybody, and there are tons of rams, almost too many. Lawson and I are laying here, and we're watching sheep here. There's a big band of 9 rams over here, and there's 3 more right up here. There's a big bull elk feeding right on this open grassy hill. So you never know what you're going to see up here.
Yeah, there's an abundance of wildlife.
Well, you see what are old kills, you know, old elk racks and stuff in this creek bottom, and grizzly bear tracks.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of predators up here.
No.
We're just hoping to be one of the predators that gets close enough to shoot a sheep.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. We're going to find a way to shoot one of these sheep with a bow. The season doesn't start until the day after tomorrow. So we're hoping to find a good ram in a spot where he doesn't have 30 other sheep around him, and just see if we can figure out a plan and we can find him and get close. You've done it before. We'll make her happen. Lawson Peterson, remember that name. If you're looking for a big stone sheep, this is a guy to hunt with. This guy lives, eats, and breathes stone sheep. He's been guiding sheep since he was 19 years old. He knows where they live. He knows all their habits. You know, he knows if they get pressured, whether it's by him or anybody else, he even knows where they're gonna go next. I haven't got this guy figured out. He's extremely patient. Sometimes you wonder what he's thinking, but when it's time to shoot a big stone sheep, that's the guy I want to hunt with.
I like working here because I'm working for my friends. You know, Larry and Lori have been friends of ours for a long time, and there's something about hunting stone sheep that it just gets in your blood. It makes you want to keep coming back for more. I guess it's the challenge of finding them, spotting them, putting a stalk on them, and the challenge of killing them, getting them down, bringing them back to camp.
Our stone sheep hunting is done mostly in the alpine, above timberline, in the high grassy basins. It is generally where these rams are at this time of year. Our sheep are one of our premier species that we hunt here.
With opening day of the stone sheep season less than 12 hours away, the game is on, as Ray finds out that bow hunting these rams might be a larger challenge than expected.
That's frustrating. We could have been done right there.
Gold Tip's force is slithering through the peaks of the Canadian Rockies with Tushoti River Outfitters. It's early August, and host Ray Bunny, along with guide Lawson, are chasing the coveted stone sheep ram.
I got so many sheep on this mountain, we can't figure out where that really big one went. We've probably seen 2 other legal rams already. I'm not a big sheep hunter, I'm trying to learn. But one thing I definitely can see already is you gotta have patience for this game. And we've got a 14-day hunt schedule. You just can't rush into this. You gotta take your time and try to find the right animal or 2 and figure out a plan, and the animals have gotta be in the right spot.
We know he's there, so it might take us a while.
We found him the first day, and we had to wait 2 days to start hunting him. It's opening day. We're just trying to find the right ram.
Like you say, with patience, we can make her happen.
We'll get it done.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time. We were sure we could find that big ram that we'd seen on Saturday. We got into that mountain range and we started glassing, and Lawson is extremely patient. We'll stop in a spot, I'll get my spotting scope out, he gets his spotting scope out, but he may move his body 4 or 5 times looking in the crevices of these mountains. We got terrible wind up here on top. We tried to make an approach from the north and the wind was wrong, so now we're walking to the south. And Huey started going nuts, so he smelt something like something's coming up the mountain at us. So Lawson's just gonna crawl ahead and see. We're just gonna stay low here, and could be an elk, you know, might be a sheep, but we just walked around that side. It's probably an elk. We just couldn't find that ram. We looked for that ram all day and couldn't find him. day 2. Got up first thing this morning, rode up the valley 4 or 5 miles, and we're watching a half a dozen rams here, but there's one really big ram we found the first day in camp. And that's the ram we're trying to find. If we find him, we're gonna go straight after him. Play the game, sit and wait, be patient. Gotta find that right ram. Now, so on the second morning, we still got this huge ram on our mind. Lawson has a pretty good idea. If he wasn't on this particular mountain, he thinks he knows where he went. We looked and we looked and we looked. We couldn't find that big ram. He just vanished. So we get to the top of the rim, just as we start to peek over, the wind's just howling. Lawson found that big old ram, but there's 2 other rams with him.
Everything was going good other than the wind. It was in our favor, but it was a little strong.
We took our time, we were watching the wind, we crawled up. We're in a great vantage point. The wind's perfect. The ram finally gets up, he starts feeding around, and he beds down directly below us. And every time a dark cloud would cover up the sun, the wind would just get violent. And the ram finally got up, started feeding around.
I can't tell especially bow hunters, I can't tell them what kind of shot they can or can't make. And I appreciate Ray's confidence in his ability of shooting. It was a little windy there, and he backed away, and I really appreciate that.
Man, that's frustrating. We spent half the day on this mountain for a 2-second opportunity. I was just waiting for it to calm. The wind would gust and then it would calm. You know what the frustrating part is? I gotta walk back up on this mountain tomorrow.
Our hunt will continue as Ray and Lawson battle the elements of the Tushonee River drainage while trying to sneak into shooting position on some bedded rams. Gold Tip's force is covering the rocky peaks of the Tushonee River drainage as host Ray Bunny is on a spot and stalk hunt for some massive stone sheep rams. It's day 3 of the sheep season, and we catch our team high above the valley floor, getting prepared for an evening hunt.
Well, we headed up this face. We left the horses at 1 o'clock. We just got on top. It's 4:30. I'm just getting everything ready. Rangefinder, make sure it's good. Set on angle and yards so it works. Got my release, got my arm guard. All I gotta do is peel my pack and I'm ready. It's time to just cool off a little bit, catch our breath, and be ready. Now while we're laying on that rim, Lawson was laying about 18 yards to our left where he could look down the face of the mountain. And out of nowhere walks this young ram. And that ram hung around there for about 20 minutes. I was afraid to move. Lawson finally happened to look around and see the ram because I couldn't move. This sheep was so close to me I could have shot him with a slingshot. Now that's how you be stealthy. We're having fun anyway. That was cool. See, anytime I'm laying up on these hills, that's what I'm afraid of. Some huge ram's gonna walk right up the hill and bump right into us. You know, Lawson told me there was a place that when rams get pressured, they like to hide, but the only way we can get there to see them is to climb to the top of this mountain. And so guess what? We're going to the top of the mountain. Well, we just found our sheep. It's 5:30 in the evening. We think we can hunt till about 9:30 because of daylight. We don't have too big of dark clouds. Lawson's gonna flip the coin to see if we're gonna go after the sheep because they're about a mile that way. We got into camp at almost midnight last night. So we're just sitting up here trying to decide how late we want to get home to a sleeping bag tonight. Hey Jimmy, I don't know where you're at. Right now you should be here because that way you could just run down that mountain. The problem with going back to camp is you miss out. Something could bother these sheep in the middle of the night and you come back and they're gone. You never find them again. So I told Lawson, it's totally up to you. I mean, you know these sheep way better than I do.
A lot of times I found when the opportunity is there, you gotta go for it. The wind was right, the light was good, so we went for it.
So we walked down the edge of this rim about 1.5 miles, and on the way down again, we bump into more rams that we hadn't seen. We're trying to stay off the skyline, stay out of sight, and luckily the rams we were after, they were down the hill far enough, they couldn't see the rim. So we went all the way to the end of the ridge, crawled over the edge, and we let Lawson crawl right out where we could look down the slope and there were no sheep. So we slowly started working our way down, and finally Lawson got where he could see just the tops of one set of horns. Right then my heart started to pound. I mean, I'm sheep hunting. I'm stone sheep hunting with a bow, and I have no clue what I'm about to get into. And when I peeked out over that rim and I saw how big that set of horns were, I freaked out. I mean, my adrenaline went sky high. Now Lawson, he's Mr. Patient. And here I can usually hold my cool pretty well. But for some reason, peering over that rim and seeing this monster stone sheep at 30-some yards, my heart almost couldn't take it. I just peeked to make sure that the ram had fed broadside. I stepped a little to my right so I could draw my bow without the ram seeing me, and game was on. To me, it looked like that first shot was a little bit low, so I went into panic over mode, grabbed another arrow. I said, range find that sheep. That sheep's starting to walk to the left. He was just over 40 yards, and I had to put another one in him. This is just an incredible animal. There was no way in the world I was going to let him get away. Guys, look at this. This is a once in a lifetime. I just killed a stone sheep with a bow. Lawson, stone sheep with a bow to Shody River Outfitters. This guy right here, Lawson, is probably the best sheep guide in the whole world. I know he is right now. I can't believe that this actually came true. This is extreme, spot and stock with a bow. You gotta get out here, get all the Lawson, call it to Shody River Outfitters, talk to Larry and Lori, come out and it'll make your entire hunting career. Lawson, thank you very much. When we rode into base camp and Larry saw how big this sheep was, he was in shock. They said this was potentially the new #3 all-time for a bow hunter.